We're back. We're back. I got a new mic. Uh, some things have changed. This is the first video of 2026, and we are going to start the year off right. The topic of today's video is going to be a bit like it's going to be obvious. It's going to be really obvious. I'm sure it's not just me. I'm sure it's a lot of people, a lot of other people for sure, especially the entire Xeno community. Definitely feels this way for sure. It's just not too many people are talking about it, I feel like. Now, there are going to be multiple points throughout this entire video where I discuss just the overall well-being of the game. Like, the overall well-being of the game is not necessarily what anyone really wants, and it's been that way for a long while now, I could say. It's just there are multiple different things that I feel like are driving this game into the dirt, into the ground, and are essentially causing the decline of the game as a whole. Now, there are many different reasons, or many different obvious reasons for this, and I just feel like it's not just the community itself. Yes, there are people that do certain things, like you have certain people that run around with like giant Namex still. You have certain people that somewhat only cheese. Cheese has been a thing since day one, so that's always been like something that everyone has been against. There's a lot of subjective cheese that are in the game, but that's not necessarily what this video is going to necessarily be about. Dimps, it's really dimps, and the way that they're handling the game, what happens after every other DLC, and the time frame of this game. So usually I'd say maybe like around let me give like a rough estimate. So maybe around like 2020 to 2023. Up until that point, Dimps was able to essentially drop a DLC and get the player base back up. And the player base would be back up for a good amount of time. There'd be players on consistently, you'd get consistent matches, and the game itself was like, I wouldn't say it was lively necessarily, but it was I'll say like a funny word, like it was like moisturized. Like the game was moisturized. The game was like, it wasn't a game that was super populated, but it was alive enough to where like, okay, I can get consistent games, I can be on and play with my friends. My friends are on, stuff like that, and I know because I've been on this game for God knows how long, just about basically the entire time frame since like 2017. I've been on this game, so it's like I know, I've seen and have been around long enough to where like I can see the somewhat of the continuous decline. They gave us transformations, they gave us skills that keep the game on its toes, but eventually over time the DLCs have gotten worse, the content has gotten more dry. As far as content creation goes, especially for like other creators, it's just dirt and dry. Like there's not much to the game anymore. They're not dropping enough content for the game itself, for the game to necessarily have a healthy lifespan. Despite all its flaws, there's a lot of things that people want, and there's a lot of things that we need in the game that we still, for whatever reason, don't have. Even as far as just like simple like cast characters, there are a lot of cast characters that we don't have in the game, and it's just I think it's around that time now. Yes, I do know that there are a lot of people talking about Xenoverse 3 and it being out by maybe the end of this year or the end of next year, around that time. But if we're looking at this from a bigger picture, right, it was obvious that Xenoverse 3 would have to drop. It was obvious that they were working on something else behind the scenes. I don't think that it would make sense necessarily from a business standpoint to milk a game for this long, for as long as they have, and then not drop a third game. Clearly they're making enough money to where they can consistently drop DLCs for a span of time and work on other means of higher what's the word I'm looking for, just higher means in the forefront, in the long run, essentially. So it was it was obvious that was gonna happen, but we're gonna have to go multiple DLCs until that time frame comes. And I honestly don't know if this game is going to live or survive without completely having just no one being on it or doing anything with it. I got on yesterday at the time of this recording. I got on yesterday because I tried to play as much as I can. Xeno for me is still, even to this day, one of my most favorite fighting games, my most favorite arena fighters especially. And I try to get on, I try to make content on it and just try to expand on different ideas when it comes to just making videos for it. And yeah, sure, there are a lot of things that I could do, but there are also things, majority of those options are just not unique, because there's just, like I said earlier, the game itself, the content within the game is just not where it should be. I was on yesterday, and I kid you not, I sat in the lobby for, give or take, 15 to 20 minutes, and I finally ended up getting a match. Now, I don't know if most people realize, but sitting in a fighting game lobby, mind you, sitting in a fighting game lobby for 15 to 20, sometimes even 30 minutes, sometimes even 30, sometimes 20 to 30 minutes to get into a match, that is absurd. I shouldn't have to sit in a Xenoverse lobby for 20 to 30 minutes to get a match. And the guy that I ended up getting the match with was a level 80. He wasn't even properly leveled. He wasn't even level 99. And I felt bad because I'm like, okay, I waited this long, and it's like, well, dude, I just ended up fighting him anyway. I ran the game with him, but I told him, I'm gonna have to kick you. And it was just he was, we were going back and forth, and we were just having a little small talk and over PSN messages. And essentially he was basically telling me, he came from Switch, and he was just trying to grind on PS4, or not PS4, I think he was on PS4 or PS5, can't remember between the two, but he was basically trying to grind on PlayStation, the PlayStation variation of Xeno. And he was a level 80, and he was trying to do expert mission 15. He wanted me to help him with it. And I haven't done that expert mission in almost 6-7 years, so I completely forgot how long that expert mission was. But I told him, I was like, I'm not doing anything else at the moment, and I'll do it a couple of times for you. And he was just like, I'll I only need to do it once, but I'd appreciate if you could help me out. So I helped him out. We completed it. I helped him, and that was that. But after that little occurrence, I just got off the game. I just got off. I was just like, I'm not gonna continue to sit and wait for this long just to get a game. And it wasn't even just that one time. This is a reoccurring thing for me, and it might not just be me, but it's for sure probably other people as well. It's just the game times for actually trying, or the duration for actually trying to get into a game on this game is atrocious. It's absurd. It's horrible. And it was like that the entire year of 2025 for me. Honestly, it was just, yeah, sure, there were times where I could get consecutive games here and there, but overall it was me just sitting in the lobby, and I would just be doing other things on the side. I have 2 monitors set up, so I have my PC set up on the right side, and then on the left side I have my gaming PS5 monitor, and I just I'm just sitting here. My screen on the left is just like blank for like 20 to 30 minutes. Almost every single time I get on this game, I'm just sitting there, and I'm either doing something on my PC. I'm either creating designs for a character. I'm either that, or I'm writing, or I'm just like listening to music on my phone. That's about it. Like, that's literally all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. The PS5 is just on for 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm getting no games. And the games that I do get are just like, the person ends up rage quitting, or they're just probably under level. It's never in between, or they're probably just a giant Namek, because for whatever reason, giant Nameks still exist within this realm of this game. But yeah, it's horrible. It's really, really bad. Like I was saying, the DLCs, when it comes to this game, they had their turn. They had their time. They're not putting any effort into the DLCs anymore, clearly, and there's just not enough content for the game to essentially thrive like how it should. Even the small player base that it has, these DLCs aren't really doing anything for it, because these DLCs aren't bringing in enough excitement. They're not bringing in the right amount of content. They're not bringing in the right amount of uniqueness, that fire that those early DLCs had. Nowadays it's just like, oh, another DLC, okay, like, what do we got? Like, you know, it's not really. There's been so many DLCs. There's been so many, like, just rinse and repeat content. Just rinse and repeat. It's all watered down. You know, if they would just give us, like, I don't even mean to sound like everyone else, but it's like it's like the little things that would bring this community back pretty easily. For example, custom movesets easily would bring back probably half of the player base, simply because of how generic CACs are. Like, we have all these cast characters, cool. Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with playing cast characters. Cast characters are really fun to play, but you know, our CACs, you know, yeah, they have every move basically in the game, but like, the move sets, the transformations, the aura combinations is what really brings it to home. And you know, pretty much for the most part, everyone would agree with me there. Like, that's just what it is. That's just how it works. Like, a CAC should be a CAC. I should be able to customize everything about the character that I'm creating, but for whatever reason I can't. You know, it's just, there's so many issues with the game itself. You're just not enough stages. We need more stages in the game. We need more auras. Like, we need more, like, actual, like, other auras in the game that we can use. Not even just for CACs, even for cast characters. Like, honestly, I should be able to use the transformation like supervillain. I should be able to use like legendary Super Saiyan. I should be able to go as Rose on a male Saiyan or a female Saiyan. I should be able to use like a Super Boo type transformation on a Majin race or something like that. Like, something that makes the Majins like sleek and not take like crazy damage, but also not have as much defense. You know, it's the little things like that that would make this game fresh and new. Every DLC should come with something fresh and new, just as fresh and new as everything that I've just listed. It's just, there's so many different things. And I know a lot of people probably would be a little confused with the title of the video, thinking that like when I say meta, probably just like the skill gap between the game, which is also like a huge factor. There's not a lot of experienced players within the game anymore, for a combination of reasons, and most of those reasons are the reasons that I just gave. There's just too many things wrong with the game. The game is dry, there's not enough content, and it's as simple as that. They don't necessarily care about the game enough to do any of these things. All they really care about is, you know, the money that you're putting into it with every DLC that drops. And I honestly, like, I'm at that point where it's like I don't even necessarily want to buy any of these newer DLCs or any of the DLCs of that matter, because really what holds the power is the wallet. Like, if people are paying Dimps and Dimps is getting all this money through all these DLCs, these lackluster, dry, and barely even minimal effort DLCs, then they would be forced to make a change, because nothing within their system of banking is going up. It would be actually going down. So that would actually force them to actually get into what they need to get into. I've told people before, and I've even told my friends, like, honestly, the people that play this game have more power than they think they do. And as a collective, we are somewhat contributing to the downfall of this game, because they're not going to make any changes. Because people are complacent enough to still play and still buy all these DLCs and make content on it. Like, it's, you know, it just doesn't work that way. If we can't actually show them that we want change, there's never going to be change. And it's just as simple as that. I don't want to make this video too long, because it's like, you know, it's not really that much to talk about that majority of people don't know. But it's just one of those things where I want to put on the forefront and just let it be known. Like, you know, it's honestly, my predictions for the rest of the year is the continuous decline, the continuous breaking point of this game, because the game isn't really necessarily going anywhere. And there's a reason, like, yeah, like, everyone's hyped for Xenoverse 3 potentially being a thing and somewhat basically being confirmed, but right now we still have Xenoverse 2, and no one's really playing it anymore because everyone else contributed to the downfall of it. And then it's, you know, it's all in shambles, and, like, you know, it's just, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, there's not much else to really be talked about. The DLCs, the characters, the lack of stages, the lack of customization for cast and for CACs. They completely disregarded the keys. I don't know what's up with the keys anymore. They stopped giving us, like, custom cast. I don't know, they stopped that years ago. I'm not sure why, but it's just, I don't know what's next for this game, because it doesn't really seem to be getting anywhere at the moment. You know, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about all of this. I could be, you know, they could drop a groundbreaking DLC in the next couple of months. We don't know, but we'll see when that time comes. Honestly, I just think that my overall message for this video is that something has to change, something has to be different, and the people, the community, has to be better, has to be more upfront with their wallet and with their time and with the things that they say, because it's not like the devs aren't watching. It's not like the devs don't understand. It's not like the devs don't get what is happening here. It's not like they don't see what is happening. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I don't want to make it too long. We're reaching like 20 minutes, and yeah, expect more videos in the future. And yeah.
Got something for you. Here, take this. Yeah, eat it.